You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
The Dallas Cowboys have now lost 5 straight games. Lost Monday night at home to Houston 34-10. It was 17-10 at the half. Joe Mixon, 3 touchdown runs, 109 yards rushing. Cowboys 0-5 at home this season. The Giants starting quarterback is now Tommy DeVito with Drew Lock as his backup. The National League Rookie of the Year is Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens. The AL Rookie of the Year, Yankees pitcher Luis Hill. U.S. men's soccer defeated Jamaica in St. Louis 4-2. To the NBA, New York sent Washington to a 9th straight loss, 134-106. Toronto ended a 7-game losing streak, beating Indiana 130-119. R.J. Barrett scored 39 points. Milwaukee edged Houston 101-100 on a game-winning layup from Damian Lillard, who returned after a concussion. Orlando won at 6 straight. Atlanta got 19 assists from Trae Young in a 1-point win at Sacramento. Clippers beat Golden State.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We have this Tuesday edition with DC of DC Capstone Report joining us. We are brought to you by Box Eye Care. We're going to continue to talk about Bama's win over Mercer. Look forward to Bama versus Oklahoma. We'll also hit Bama hoops with Bama having a lost to Purdue this past weekend and what Bama has coming up this week as well.
All right. Good morning. We're glad to have you up and Adam with us. We will have issues with DC connecting there. So as soon as we get him connected, we'll add him to the conversation. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and we want to thank God that this is another day that he has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Let's take it away, X.
All right. So continuing the conversation from this past weekend, I guess we can get into the good, bad, and ugly from the game. When you look at the game from Saturday, what was some of the good that you saw?
Oh, I have to say that nobody got injured. They played a football game and nobody got injured. That seems to be what everybody worries about with the SEC championship game. No, I think the good was that Alabama did everything they needed to do in terms of going out executing. It looked like they had a specific game plan to get more guys involved. Of course, Ryan Williams gets a reverse. They tried it with Kendrick Law, and it's like the guy don't block when Kendrick run it. But of course, he was running it later in the game. But I still would like to see them get him the ball in space, not just the speed sweep. I'd like to see him catch it out there on the edge. But like I said, spread the ball around. I do think this was one of those games where they were not going to run Jalen unless they had to, which almost cost us a touchdown down there. I think I texted everybody. I was like, okay, trying to get everybody a touchdown but Jalen. And then Jalen took it in. I think it was on 4th down. But the good to me was that defense continuing their, winning ways or takeover ways. Yesterday, Womack talked about the drill where they, have a drill where the point of the drill is just to punch the ball out. I mean, to dislodge the ball. So not even trying to make tackles. And you can see that paying dividends in terms of the way Alabama is getting turnovers. Just hard to believe 5+ games in a row with 3 or more takeaways. And that's crazy. They keep that trend up, this team can do some special things.
Yeah, you talk about the drill. I think Damani must have ran it to perfection all week last week, because the way he knocked that ball out on that rundown was textbook in my eyes. Chasing the guy down, wrap up with one hand, knock the ball out with the other. It doesn't get much better than that. And can we talk about Quay Russaw and his athleticism? When you look at the 2 interceptions he has this year, one he was diving, the other one ball gets tipped, and he reaches down and on Saturday grabs it one hand, inches off the ground. Just his ability to make plays on the ball when it's in the air has been pretty impressive.
Yeah, that interception Saturday was really impressive because, going opposite direction of the ball, leaning back, having to get one hand up under it, secure it while going to the ground. That's big time for a wide receiver. Big time catch for a wide receiver. So, but hey, we're not going to have DC this morning. He got some things going on, and I apologize that he actually had communicated with me, and I did not see the message till just a few moments ago. So I will try to see if he has time later on in this week to catch up.
Okay. Yeah. My good from Saturday was just another complete game, 2 weeks in a row where Bama played 4 quarters of football, along with getting the backups in. When you talk about clearing the bench, we talked about a little bit yesterday. All 4 quarterbacks playing, 8 different running backs running the ball. I think it was 9 or 10 between wide receivers and tight ends catching passes. It shows the depth of this team and getting these young guys an opportunity to get into the game and make plays when the time presented themselves.
Yeah, and I'll add to this, talked a little bit about this with Ryan yesterday. A lot of people don't like these types of games, but I think they are mission critical to your program. And I've always thought that, but I think it even more now than ever before. This is, really the first time we've been able to do that this year. We've had a couple games where I thought we were going to get to do it against Georgia, but we didn't for the second half. Second team guys got in a little bit not a little bit, a good bit against LSU. So we've had a few games, but what this does for your program is, walk-ons get on, third team guys get on, fourth team guys get on. But more importantly, are just as important now in this transfer portal world, guys who may think they should have been playing more, and everybody's telling them you should be playing more and all of this stuff. They get a little taste of what it's like to run out in Bryant-Denny in front of that crowd and all of that. So when somebody else comes knocking or calling, they hadn't just had a practice experience at Alabama, they've had game experience. So I think it's absolutely critical to developing your program, building depth. And now it even matters in the terms of the transfer portal. That it gives you a chance right there when they're about ready to quit, when everybody's telling them how great they are. Who knows, X? We may have a quarterback and a wide receiver that stays because of the late touchdown and that one play from Matt to Scott. That one play could have potentially kept those guys on this roster. Not saying that they were looking to go or anything, but in the off season, they will have a little taste of what it's like to wear that crimson jersey and have the fans go crazy over it.
Right. And a lot of people complain about Alabama and a lot of SEC schools. They'll have a game like this later in the season where you see most of the other Power Four conferences. They'll play all their games at the beginning of the year, all their cupcake games or whatever. Say, it shows that the SEC really ain't that tough because they got to play this game, before rivalry week or at the end. Well, it keeps those guys engaged throughout the entire course of the season instead of you getting them their quarter or drive or two of PT at the beginning of the season, and then they don't get an opportunity to potentially play the rest of the year. This keeps guys engaged, knowing, hey, I late in the season I got an opportunity.
Let me ask you this: if Oregon's schedule had been flipped, Oregon wouldn't be undefeated. Remember their first games against weak opponents that they barely won?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody forgets that Oregon started the season off with the FCS school that almost beat them.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And then they had a closing game with Boise State.
That's right. So, the reality of it is it's easier to play the tough game. The easy games early because you're learning your team. So the SEC and schools that start off with tougher opponents early actually have a harder schedule. And then down the stretch, that is smart to me because it does give you a chance to rest in a bye week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We've got J-Rob.
We need to get – it's break time.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get the break, and then when we come back on the other side, J-Rob, we'll bring you into the conversation. This is the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We'll be back.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is a wet and soggy morning, Tuesday at that. So we're starting out with a bang on McFarland westbound after I-20. You do want to watch out for an accident. It's going to knock out both the left and center lanes. And 2059 westbound after Skyland Boulevard. Do watch out for an accident there. A crash in...
And the life. Yes, Jesus says, I am that I am. Believe him and have a Merry Christmas from Taco Casa.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go under.
Begins at 3:30 on your home for Alabama football.
Presented by the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino, I-459, exit 31. You could be a winner too.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with widespread rain today, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 69. The sky clearing tonight below 55. Tomorrow and Thursday, partially sunny both days with a cooling trend. The high tomorrow 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 66 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. I'm sorry, I almost did something. I'm going to skip it. Hey, remember to check out North River Timber Company, timber harvesting, appraisals, and land management. You need to call Courtney White and his team. They've been doing it for 11 plus years and counting. Man, if you do not take care of the land properly, it won't take care of you properly. And North River Timber Company, LLC, can help you do that. You can email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com. That's northrivertimberco@gmail.com. Courtney White can be reached by phone at 205-242-5127. That's Courtney White. Once again, 205-242-5127. You're back in with the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Cares, Martin and Xavier.
All right. Before we jump back into good, bad, and ugly conversation, we have J-Rob joining us on the Empowerment and Strategy Solutions Hotline. How are you doing this morning, J-Rob?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. Y'all doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Doing great.
All right. Hey, a little disappointed about the basketball team going on the road and dropping one at Purdue Friday night. The way I look at it is, this is the type of game that helps you win in March. This is why Coach Oates schedules these teams early. It's very hard to go on the road and beat somebody like Purdue, a top 10 team, in their gym. It's just hard to do. And, when those threes stop falling, you got to find a way to get in the hole differently. And we just couldn't find a way to do it there at the end. But, we hung in there. We just couldn't find enough there at the end. I'm not down on the team. I'm still high on them, and I think we're going to do all right. That's just the way it is early in the season and on the road in major college basketball. So, what do you guys think about Friday night?
Yeah, Alabama played Purdue close for a while and had a lead in the second half, and things just kind of collapsed down the stretch. And I think it's a good learning lesson for this team early on in the year. Bama has, I think, Coach Oates schedules hard at the beginning of the year to challenge this team. So they can learn about themselves, and if they do what they've always done up under, they'll get better as the season goes and be in good position come tournament time.
Yeah, and have you checked out Purdue's record? Let me give you a few stats, J-Rob, that'll probably make you feel better about. I didn't know this going in. Purdue is now 6-6 in its last 12 games played against the number 2 team. So they're 50-50 in that sense. Of course, they're 4-0 on their season. They have now won 39 straight regular season non-conference games, which is tied for the 4th longest streak in NCAA history. 8 of those wins have come against the AP Top 11. They have won 25 straight games in the month of November, with 7 of those wins coming against teams ranked in the top 11. And they currently have the longest streak going. They're 10-2 since 2021-2022 against top 10 ranked teams, 20-6 against ranked teams. So
they get ready.
Straight home games, 30 straight games against non-conference opposition, 12 of the last 15 against top 15 teams. So and then you add this: they had 3 turnovers, tied for the fewest turnovers in a game. Only 3 turnovers, so our defense has to pick up. Trey Kaufman-Renn scored a career high 26 points with 8 rebounds, 4 assists. That's I guess their new go-to guy down low without Edey, even though he's only 6'9", they have a 7-footer. Fletcher Loyer scored 17 points. In last year's contest, he had 4. Of course, Brayton Smith did his, double-double, 17 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, with 1 turnover. Let me see, it was one other. Oh, yeah. And the not freshman, C.J. Cox. He's not the freshman, right? No. C.J. Cox scored 11 points, including 3 straight threes. Everything that someone sent me, I didn't get to watch the game live. Someone sent me a thing and said, man, they could shoot it from the parking deck and hit it.
They could. Everything there's, in football, basketball, it don't matter. Alabama gets everybody's best, especially at their home place. It's just the way it is in life.
And that's what Alabama is going to have to learn to play with. J-Rob, they're no longer the hunter. They're the hunted. And they're not going to sneak up on anybody. They've had to deal with this all season, all year. So it's going to be a little different intensity. And it's good that's what I love about basketball. You don't have to be perfect. And I'm glad that football is finally getting to that place where the team's playing the best at the end of the year. If they don't, if they can hold water during the early part, then they still have a chance to play for a championship. And that's what we see with this Alabama team. They haven't been perfect, but right now they're playing as good or better than anybody in the country, not just the SEC. So if they hold water a couple more games, then they're going to have a chance to win the SEC championship most likely. And definitely if they don't get into the SEC championship game, they'll get a chance to play for a national title.
That's what's good about the way things are now. And football, there's not a whole lot of bad. There's a whole lot of good, not a whole lot of bad about Saturday. It's beautiful weather, and a lot of people got to play. And I guess one bad thing, it's not too bad. We did have 6 penalties and not a whole lot of ugly. I don't even know what I would say about it being anything ugly. But I love to see Robbie.
How many penalties did we have with the first group?
I'm not sure, but we didn't have but 6 total. So that could have been the second group.
A couple of those penalties were
ugly.
I think we have 4 with the starters.
Okay, 4 with starters. The only ugly I see would be we got a playoff contending team, a SEC contending team, and we didn't fill the stadium to the top. It was a beautiful day. Nobody had any excuse not to go. It was 1:00 in the afternoon, and I guess that's the only ugly part about the whole day. You guys have a great day.
I was part of that ugly, J-Rob. I had 2 tickets I didn't use, so
shame on you. It wasn't a sellout, though. You did buy it. All right, man. Y'all have a great day. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Here, hey, listen, I'm that guy. I've been to 1 game this year in the stadium, and at that game I sat in the Georgia section, and I was barely in the stadium. I was on the row from the not the first not the very top row, but one row down. So I was barely in the stadium in that game. So
yeah, he enjoys the comforts of his big, nice, soft couch that he got, air conditioned, blowing on him. You play 30 some odd games in Bryant-Denny, it doesn't have the same impact as if you never played there.
Yeah.
No,
I appreciate did
you play 30 games at Bryant-Denny with all the games y'all played in Birmingham?
Not sure. We finally transitioned to Tuscaloosa except for the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. No, but continuing the conversation, the bad. There really wasn't a lot of bad that you can look at from this game. Was there any that you saw?
Well, bad or ugly is being picky. I would say that burn up 2 punts were bad. So yeah, and like I said, that's being picky, but yeah.
He had to have a bad game, so why not it be against Mercer?
Yeah, and what's crazy is he was named as a Ray Guy finalist. And
Right.
I said, couldn't hold water. I'm just messing with him. He's been so consistent through his career that I hated to see that right after he got some national love for being potentially Alabama's first Ray Guy, winner. But I don't know. A guy. Quick sidebar. I don't see how J.K. Scott. To me, J.K. Scott and Riker both should have won their position awards, but I digress.
Right. Yeah, those two guys have probably been two of the, when we talk about greats at Alabama that didn't get the love or the respect that they deserve nationally, is definitely Will Riker. The all-time leading scorer in NCAA history doesn't have a best kicker award, Lou Groza. And then you look at J.K., who was dominant from his first punt to his last punt. I don't even think he was a finalist for Ray Guy. He might have been his senior year, but he didn't get the love that he deserved either. For me, the bad, like you said, it wasn't a lot of bad. Maybe maybe not getting everybody involved the way you wanted them to. I would have loved for Kendrick Law's stat line to have been better than two catches for -9 yards or 2 rushes for -9 yards throughout the course of the game. So I think that'll be my bad. And I don't think you really can have any ugly this week. Do you?
No, I didn't have anything ugly. Other than my viewing experience from home, the SEC network and ESPN kept kicking me off, so I missed the first part of the game. I didn't see Ryan's touchdown. I had to watch it on rewind. So and then it would play a little while, then it kick off, and then I'd have to come back, and so it took me about the first quarter before it stayed connected. So that was my ugly. Your mom came in and she said, "What's wrong with you?" That's how bad it was. It was all over my face. So it was really a bad experience. But anyway, let's get to break here. I want to thank the good folks over at Box Eye Care for making this show possible each and every day. Box Eye Care, Daniel Box OD, 205-342-0660, or visit them at boxeyecare.com. They have that new location. They have an extensive inventory, one of the largest in Tuscaloosa. They also have an in-house lab, which means that they can take care of you, get you in and out, in most cases in an hour, but you're going to get the same great care, same great love, same great attention, same great service that you've always gotten. That's Box Eye Care, boxeyecare.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is a wet and soggy morning, Tuesday at that. So we're starting out with a bang on McFarland westbound after I-20. You do want to watch out for an accident. It's going to knock out both the left and center lanes. And 2059 westbound after Skyland Boulevard. Do watch out for an accident there.
So you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dixie Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com. They offer
only $25 a line. Welcome to more lines. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Discount varies by line. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way each and every day for 50 years and counting. If you're looking for a great option for lunch and or dinner, then you need to check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa, and while you're there, don't forget to get a big glass of that sweet tea. Visit them online at tacocasa.com. That's tacocasa.com. Quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We're powered by Box Eye Care. I want to encourage you to check out, if you're watching on the television, on the live stream, I want to encourage you to check out the winter collection. I'll be displaying more of those as we go. But for all of you who have wives that absolutely love Bama and love Christmas, our Christmas holiday collection is out. You can go to the same place, athletesthread.com/collections. /Martin-Houston, and you can get yours today. It is going to be a great collection. Of course, limited time. You can get it anytime, but best time to get it is before Christmas. Go ahead and make that decision to get that today. Go to athletesthread.com /collections /Martin-Houston and get your Alabama Christmas hoodie, sweater, got caps, we have t-shirts, all of that. But you can check it out there, athletesthread.com /collection /Martin-Houston. X.
All right. So speaking of, tonight we've got the college football playoff rankings dropping again. It's an interesting thing. Gotta love good old Danny Kanell, right? Talking about, he came out with a post and he said, ladies and gentlemen, the most dominant conference in all the land. And he uses Miami beating Florida, Cal beating Auburn, Arizona State beating Mississippi State, Georgia State beating Vandy, USC beating LSU, Notre Dame beating Texas A&M, and Oklahoma State beating Arkansas as his proof to discredit the SEC, right? While leaving out Georgia beating Clemson, Texas beating Michigan, Texas shutting out Colorado State 52-0, Bama 42-10 over Wisconsin, Ole Miss over Wake Forest, Tennessee over North Carolina State, Mizzou over Boston College, Vandy over Vitek, LSU over UCLA, and Oklahoma over Houston. As Who's says, how does Danny Kanell still have a job?
He doesn't. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I guess he's doing his own thing somewhere. Is he on any network now? Because ESPN fired him. Or let him go. Sorry.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think he does. I think he's a
CBS Sports headquarters.
That's probably his own name. He probably named it that. I'm just kidding.
and he does have a radio show with him and Dusty Dvorak that's on right now.
Yeah, nobody's
talking about this.
Everybody's listening to us, so nobody listens to him.
So, your thoughts with the playoff rankings? How do you think things shake up this week? Bama is number 7 in the AP and coaches poll. We're right in front of Georgia. Tennessee, Ole Miss are still in the top 12, along with Texas being ranked at number 2.
How do I think it's going to come out? I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Matthew Christensen, he's just a troll, right? Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if the playoff committee follows the AP poll, which put Ole Miss behind Georgia. And some people, that tells me that the AP poll values strength of schedule. So that to me tells me a lot about how the AP is looking at it. But I'm not sure how the CFB is looking at it, committee is looking at it. I think that they have positioned themselves to try to get as many Big Ten teams in as they can with the way they've ranked them. They really haven't. The only teams that the top teams have played has been kind of each other, and they've lost each other. So not a very deep conference in terms of the Big Ten, in my opinion. But when you look at the SEC, everybody talking about how they're beating each other up. That's because they have a lot of teams at the top. So BYU, I think they'll fall drastically, even though they still have a chance to play for a championship. So I think that's what the committee will do. I think they'll drop them X, and knowing that if they win out and Colorado wins out, then one of those is going to get one of the top 4 seeds anyway. Right? And the other one won't. If BYU wins, they're in. If Colorado wins out and they win, they're in. So it doesn't really matter where they put BYU. Okay. So I think they'll take the easy route there. I think it'll be interesting to see if they keep Notre Dame in front of Alabama. I think it's possible that Alabama could jump Notre Dame. And then I think the Tennessee will be below Georgia. The question is, will Georgia be above or below Ole Miss? And I think they will. I think they will. I think that
really.
I do. I think that people hate that. They hate, but they ultimately also want to make money at. And as much as people hate it, if I'm not mistaken, if we went out and Texas A&M beat Texas, it's us and Georgia again, right?
If I think Mizzou has to win one of their last 2.
No, that's what Missouri has to beat Mississippi State and or Arkansas for us to get in.
Yeah.
So
that's a crazy rabbit hole to go down.
We have the highest chance. Next is Georgia.
Yeah.
Behind us. So that's what I'm saying is they even in the ranking have a higher chance and probability than Ole Miss of getting to that SEC championship game. So if they play it out by the way the SEC is playing it out, that means that Alabama's played a tougher schedule than Georgia. Georgia's played a tougher schedule in the conference than Ole Miss. That's why the rankings, people are trying to figure out why it's ranked the way it is. It's because of the common opponent, the tiebreaker. I had it yesterday, was going to go through it and I didn't. But okay, here's the tiebreaker: head-to-head competition against the tied teams. Well, you can't get it from that because they all beat each other. Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia beat Texas. Georgia beat Tennessee. Tennessee beat Alabama. Ole Miss beat
Georgia.
Ole Miss didn't play any of the other schools. That's what hurts Ole Miss. They didn't have that interaction with those other top schools. Then it's record, but that hurts them in the second tiebreaker, record versus all common conference opponents. Because Ole Miss didn't play those conference opponents, that's why it hurts them. That's why if Texas were to lose to A&M Axe, that's why they're not in, because they didn't play any of those tougher opponents. So their opponents don't have good records. So, and I think that's as far as you'll have to go down the rabbit hole in terms of the SEC. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's really interesting because still big games coming up. You have Ohio State, Indiana this weekend. So that will play into it, because if Indiana loses, I think their schedule is so weak. They have the last I looked, it was like the 106th ranked schedule in the country. I think it knocks them out. Now, the question is, if Indiana beats Ohio State, what are you going to do with Ohio State? Because now they're out of the Big Ten championship game, and they're 1-2 against the top three teams in their which will be the top three teams in their conference. And then even what are you going to do with Penn State? Because Penn State's only game that they played was against Ohio State. They lost that one. Now you're going to have two undefeated teams in Indiana and Oregon. So the Big Ten it could get a little crazy if Indiana were to beat Ohio State this week. Then, of course, you look at the SEC aspect of it. It is what it is. As of right now, it is looking like Texas, Alabama for the SEC championship game, and then you have the other three teams. What happens with them? There's two routes for Bama. Bama has to win out for sure. Now, the other route is if we win out, Texas loses to A&M, it'll be us and Georgia. But the other route is if Missouri has to win one of their last two games. Here's the crazy part. Mizzou can lose these two games. If Vandy fools around and beats Tennessee, we're still in. So that just shows the craziness of the league. Everything else takes care of itself. I think it's going to be crazy when Deion Sanders rolls Colorado into the college football playoffs as a 4 seed or whatever. That's really going to shake some things up in this college football world. I don't see him losing. I don't see them losing their I don't see them losing to BYU. I don't see it. So if they win out, I think they're in and they're a top 4 seed. So it's going to get wild these last three weeks of the season.
Do you think we need to get the break out? Do you think Colorado is on par with these SEC teams? You think they physically can handle it? I know Shadir. No. I think Sanders and I think it would hurt. Well, fortunately, they give the Heisman for him. I think it would hurt them. I think Hunter is big time. I think Shadir is big time. But I think they would be so overmatched. And I could be wrong. Everybody else been saying that all year. Hey,
that's true. Hey, yeah, we'll continue this conversation. But hey, this is the Martin Houston Show. Martin and Xavier. When we come back on the other side, we'll wrap up this edition of the show, and we'll be back after this.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It's a nasty one out there right now. And then on top of that, it's Tuesday. And so we definitely have ourselves some chaotic situations. First of all, standing water in several places. So you do want to be careful and reduce your speed. And 2059 westbound after Skyland Boulevard, you do want to watch out for an accident, which has a lane.
Home for Alabama basketball.
Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460.
Get our free lifetime powertrain warranty. Every in-stock Rogue, Altima, Murano, Titan, Frontier, Pathfinder will be discounted for immediate sale. See BJ or Kylan today.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're powered by Box Eye Care, boxeyecare.com. Hey, don't forget to go check out Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. Johnson and Marshall Dentistry, giving you a smile that'll last a lifetime. Featured services, which include dentistry for all ages, orthodontic treatment, dental implant restoration, and sleep apnea and snoring treatment, amongst many others. Those are the key featured services that they offer. You can find Johnson & Marshall Dentistry online at dentisttuscaloosa.com. That's dentist with an S, dentisttuscaloosa.com, or call them at 205-349-1000 and get that appointment set up today. That's Johnson & Marshall Dentistry.
All right. Welcome back in as we get ready to wrap up this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Finishing that conversation, I do not think Colorado physically can match up. Now, do they have a couple guys that are absolute dogs out there, 100%? But I'm not sure that they can compete in the trenches with these bigger schools from the Big Ten and the SEC. So I think that's where they lose out.
I would agree with that.
But we have Philip joining us. He wants to talk about Texas possibly losing to A&M in the rankings. How you doing this morning, Philip?
I'm doing good. It's been a while. I hope y'all are doing good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Good. Hey, Martin, I want to commend you for being the first, really one of the first media types to say the unsaid. And when you mentioned a minute ago that if Texas A&M beats Texas, it could knock the Longhorns out of the playoffs, I totally agree. And let me tell you about the double whammy that could happen, and it's involving the SEC, and it's a juicy double whammy, and that's Auburn beating Texas A&M and Texas A&M beating Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. On the live stream, I put to Bama MHS 0407, I think it was. I said, hey, you know that Auburn's going to beat Texas A&M, right? They're going to roll them, actually, is what I said. I would not put it past Auburn. I would not put it past Auburn. Not at all.
Oh, I would not either. Auburn's, they do a couple things pretty darn well. They run the ball pretty well when their coaches are coaching right, and they play pretty good doggone defense. So, and you almost have to worry about a triple whammy, and that's Alabama getting upset by Oklahoma this weekend.
Yep, or by Auburn.
Or by Auburn. But within the next 8 days, you could have. You're talking about 5 or 6 SEC teams, vying for the playoffs. And then if you had the unthinkable happen, then you're down to about 3.
Hey, watch this. Ole Miss could lose to Florida.
Could.
I mean, let's just be real. Georgia is probably the safest, I think.
They are.
They have UMass this week, but Georgia Tech has been an upset-minded program all year. So even though it's not an SEC game, they could still be put out the playoffs, technically. Alabama could lose either one of their last two games. Texas could lose their last game, in reality. Or they could get beat this week, who knows. But all of the teams that are still in it could also all be out of it. That's the craziest part, is that half of the teams in the SEC, for the most part, are still alive. So
still alive, but they're on that iceberg, kind of,
Yep.
Yep.
The SEC could go from a 4 to 5 bid league to a 1 bid league in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There you go. Hey, here's another thing. Talking about Army schedule, they could really screw things up if they were to upset Notre Dame and then beat Navy. But the thing about Army, they play Navy all the way out on December the 14th. The playoffs start 6 days later. If they got to do it, they would probably be the Friday night game if they were to do it.
But when do they make the final selection?
You can't make it until after that game is played.
You cannot make it until after that. Well, yeah, that's right. You probably can't do it until the 14th. That's right. Man, that's crazy, isn't it?
That Sunday, the 14th is Saturday. On Sunday, the 15th is when Selection Sunday is.
Yeah, and then the playoffs start 5 days later. That's just absolutely bizarre.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
This will be the last time that Navy and Army play. I guarantee this will be the last time they play that late, because they play the week after conference champion. They play the week after conference championships every year.
Yeah. Hey, those two teams are playing. I mean, they're playing until bowl starts. That day.
Guys, I think the committee actually may make that Selection Sunday the Sunday before.
Really?
They're going to have to.
Sunday, now is Sunday, December the 8th.
Yeah, because of I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, this will be the last time they play that far out.
Yeah. You guys have a good day.
All right.
Have a good one, Phil.
Unless they've adjusted it, the committee makes the selection on the 8th, Xavier. So.
Oh, wow.
Look. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's get out of here. Hey, remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Tomorrow.